Howdy. We finally did it. Quite a bit of back and forth. We made it
Yes,
happen.
yes, we did, Brian. Yes, we did. Nice to meet you
Yeah,
finally, and it's a pleasure to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
absolutely. So let's jump right in. I wanna take things back to the very beginning, just with you and Paradigm, how everything got started, what your vision was initially, and really learn more about what your journey was up to now, prior to all the other amazing things you got going on.
Sure. I grew up in Southern California. I was an athlete that competed in all different types of sports, from soccer, martial arts, even gymnastics when I was younger, and baseball, and then I got to high school and really fell in love with football, American football. And I remember my dad, as an immigrant, he didn't understand American football. He himself was a boxer and a martial artist, and saw me excel at soccer and baseball, and thought that I was so in love with those two sports that he could lure me away from playing the game of American football by giving me an ultimatum. And he said, "You can play football or soccer and baseball." And I ended up choosing football, and I fell in love with it. And I was lucky enough to go play college football. And during college, my time at UCLA, as an Iraqi American born in Baghdad, Muslim American, 9/11 happens. And, going through that experience as a college athlete, as really the only Arab Muslim D1 athlete or D1 football player at the time, it was quite the experience. And, I lost my brother at an early age. So I had my brother's name tattooed on me in Arabic. And pre 9/11, nobody ever thought anything of it. But you know, when that happened, well, they did, because obviously the Gulf War happened, and they would ask me questions about it, and then I'd be able to essentially answer questions and be a bridge of understanding and tolerance and humanity, really. But then 9/11 happens, and all of a sudden everybody thinks that says something it doesn't, and ignorance starts to take place. And oftentimes I found myself being in a position that other people that looked like me or came from places that I came from or believed in what I believed in, they didn't have that opportunity to engage in I would say normal discourse or even just human conversations. They were the subject of ridicule and bullying and racism, and so I always saw sports for me as a way to something I love, because I love to compete, but something that also allowed me to just build a bridge of understanding and allow me to show people that we're all the same. We all want the same things in life, no matter where you come from. And so I always believe sports has had a really powerful, not only message, but powerful platform that allowed the world to come together. And oftentimes you've seen that throughout history with the Olympics and what it's done. So fast forward to my professional career, when I was done playing ball, everybody would always plant the seed in my head: "You're going to be an agent. You're going to be an agent." And you don't think about it until the time comes and you're ready to transition into your post-athletic identity. And so I transitioned into being an agent, initially in the NFL, just representing athletes, because that's the sport that I came from. And it was a great transition, and I had a blast cutting my teeth and learning the business and working my way up. But it was when I went back to business school that I yet again used sport as a way to redefine myself and create an opportunity that allowed me to build something that I was passionate about through something that I was in love with, which was sport. And I felt that, okay, well, here's a way for me to find a path as an entrepreneur, and I could change lives and industries through sport. So it's not only touching people and building bridges of understanding and a bridge of humanity, and but it was also a way of me to get involved in sectors and businesses that traditionally people would think that, a sports agent shouldn't be involved in, and or an athlete shouldn't be involved in. And so I really wanted to continue to shatter stereotypes in every which way. And when I was in business school, I started to realize that I throughout my entire journey, I would always have these paradigm shifts. And the way I think, the way I approach life, the way I approach sport, the way I approach business. And, and I tell you this long story because it is where the name comes from. It's where Paradigm Sports Management was born. And it's through that journey and those experiences through sport, through business, through education, that the name was born, and thus the company was born as well.
What would you say were some of the key steps necessary on your end to build Paradigm to what it is now?
You have to have bold vision and bold dreams. I think that's the first thing I would say that got me to where I am today, is that I dared to dream what people would, what they did, laugh at once, or tell me that I couldn't do. And I think that if you meet any competitor, whether it's an athlete or an entrepreneur, when someone dares to dream and then actually has the discipline to go work for it, anything's possible, right? But you got to be ready to fail a million times before you succeed that once, right? And I think that would be, I would say, the most important elements as to why we've been so successful and we are where we are today.
So what is the obviously there's something really exciting happening today. What are some other things going on that you're excited about, and what's just your broader vision for Paradigm?
We always wanted to build a multi-sport management, business, media, and venture platform. And when you look at what we've been able to do, and to this day, we've focusing on high growth sports. We've chose MMA as that first high growth sport, and done a great job of being able to be the leader in that space, setting that precedent across the board, and in large part too, being able to sign great talent. My first major talent that I signed, my first major superstar, who's now a Hall of Famer, was Michael Bisping. And I
Mm.
was able to take Michael, when he was at the time, criticized for some of the things he had done, and he was really seen as um, a heel in the sport at the time. And I think now, when you look at the career he's had and the things that he's accomplished, he's one of the most beloved athletes and the funniest personalities that you could see in the sport. Not only when he was active, but now even as a retired athlete and turned businessman, which I'm super proud of everything he's doing. But that kept on happening for us. We kept on having the great ability of signing great talent, and we're nothing without the talent we're able to work with. And so, having that ability to work with great talent, you have to step up and perform as well, right? And obviously, the catalyst for all the growth we've had has been Conor McGregor, who's as I like to call him, a unicorn. He's such an outlier, but it starts and ends with his athletic ability. So when we first signed Conor was at the beginning of his UFC career. To have that vision, those dreams, where we shared those bold ambitions and those bold visions and those bold dreams, and they align, that makes for magic, and that creates some strong synergies that allow you to go about your work and your efforts, that people think that it's a linear and easy journey, but it's not. We've really had to think outside the box. There's no precedent for the things that we've done, but when you look at what we've built, you now look at Proper 12 Irish whiskey, which is the fastest growing Irish whiskey in the spirit's history. You look at what we've built with August McGregor, our apparel brand. You look at now what we've built with our mobile gaming platform and game Dystopia. You look at our health and wellness play and sports recovery product we just launched in TIDL. And you look at the ongoing ventures that we have, there's more to come. And we're now starting to replicate that and scale not only the Conor vision, but then start to replicate that for our other clients. So there are some early development projects going on for whether it's Manny Pacquiao, whether it's Israel Adesanya, whether it's Chris Cyborg, and for us, it's just about continuously building the infrastructure so we have that capacity to be able to continue to do these things. When I first started as an entrepreneur, you have two nickels to rub, and you're doing it on your own. Sometimes you're going to deal with a lot of challenges, not just from the exterior, but interior, if you will. And so we're at a place now where we have 20 staff members, and we're hiring more and also acquiring more in the next 6 to 12 months, which is very exciting because the culture is the best it's ever been. The level of human capital that we now have is superb. And I always equate business to sports because that's my background. So it comes easy to me.
Yeah.
But you have to have the best players on the field at the same time to win a championship game. And business is no different. And so what I've learned is that we've had great success to this point, but to continue to have even greater success, we're going to have the best players on the field at the same time.
Yeah, that's one thing I really have admired about you watching your work from a distance is your ability to create this cohesion with everybody on your team and to keep everything in house. And it's very apparent that you are really working in the best interest of everybody on there. And I've been doing what I've been doing for a while, and I've talked to a lot of agents and artists and athletes, and nowhere else is it more apparent that everybody is so passionate and on board with the people they're working with as I've seen them with the people who are working with you. So I want to know what were some of those psychological barriers that you had that you had to kind of fight through when you were building this.
I appreciate those kind words. That feels really good to hear. I could tell you now in year 11 of our existence as a company, you look back and there was, I was so young, I was so inexperienced. And when you put your all into something and you put your life and you're all in, not only emotionally, but financially. And there was the first half of this journey, everybody was getting paid, albeit peanuts at the time. But myself, that's hard, right? And having a lack of experience or knowledge or expertise early on, that creates for some, I would say, negative energy on both sides. And so if I don't know what's going on and you bring people that try to either take advantage of that or amplify that negative energy, it creates for very bad culture, right? And I would say that was part of it. That was part of the journey is me being a better leader, which I always take. At the end of the day, whoever was on that journey early on was because I let them on. But I had to learn from those mistakes, and I had to learn what was important. I had to learn how to create a better environment. I had to learn what type of talent I was looking for. And I had to learn even how to make sure I have a clean infrastructure. So, it is a healthy environment, not just for myself, but for everybody on board. Right. So as a leader, I've learned a lot through those experiences. And also it's about learning, you know, just the facts, right? Learning what it is to be a CEO, learning business law. And even if you go to business school, you could learn, you're not going to learn as much as you will do on the job. That's just the reality of it.
Mhm.
you could go get an MBA, and which I did, right? And it's great. It gives you a great foundation of how to approach things, but there's no better lesson than to learn on the job, right? Especially when you're a scrappy startup, when you don't have all these resources to hire the big law firms that we're now fortunate enough to be able to work with. Um, they probably wouldn't even take my call back then, you know? So,
Yeah, yeah.
but, but at the end of the day, you have to learn from those experiences, and continue to educate yourself. So it's not just learning on the job, but like that's the one thing I've found. I find myself still doing now. I feel like I'm more of a student now than I was then, because not only am I learning with these amazing things that we're doing, the good, the bad, the ugly, but I then dive deeper on a subject matter like I was in business school. So it's almost like I take these case studies that I'm really working on and I dive deeper because I just want to be the best. And I take that type of energy in everything that I do. And I also feed off my team who has that same approach. And so it's a great environment to be around people that constantly push and drive each other to try to be the best and try to strive and commit to a level of excellence in everything that we do. And it's really refreshing. And again, looking back, all those experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, were necessary for us to get to where we are today. It was necessary for me to experience as a entrepreneur and as a CEO to get to a level of understanding, patience, and ability to be the best version of myself present day.
So before we get to Proper 12, August McGregor, everything else, I do want to know, just personally, honestly, what your approach is to personal leadership, just managing yourself, and then also professional leadership now, running paradigm, because they say heavy's the head that wears the crown, right? You have more responsibilities now. Yes, you can afford the high profile lawyers, but now you're playing those higher stakes games where you need them and there's more on the line. So how do you keep yourself healthy, physically, mentally, to manage that and manage yourself?
That's a great question. It really is. And I will tell you too, early on, you probably wouldn't even, if you met me or you see those old pictures, you wouldn't even know that I was an athlete at one point in my life. And, and it's part of that is when you don't have a lot of money, all you're eating is the 99-cent burgers through a drive-through. And then the other part is just, I neglected my health. I let go something that I was so familiar with, which was health and wellness and fitness. And the stress of the job overwhelmed you, right? It overwhelmed me. It really did, to the point that I, it's not just the physical, but it is the spiritual and the emotional. And something I always preach to my team now, man, is the balance. Find that balance. This is a 25/8 job. As an entrepreneur, it's 25/8. It's not 24/7. It's not 9 to 5. It's not 18 hours, 25/8. And those that put in the more effective hours, it's not about how many hours, right? Because it's not, I don't sit there and count the clock, but it's the more effective hours and the efficient hours that are going to get you ahead, right? And I think that finding that efficiency is through finding your own balance, and feeding the mind, body, and soul every day is so important. It's so important. So whatever that means to you, I I can't define that for you. You can't define that for me, but we all have to find that, because you will look back and you will not feel good, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is that you need to find balance. And for me, it's eating healthy now, it's exercising every day. Even when I'm tired and I don't want to do it, even if I have to do a quick 10-minute workout in the hotel room, I'll just do it now. It's just trying to create these habits that for me have been an amazing form of balance. Meditation, prayer, whatever it is for you that's important, find it, hold on to it, because I think when you find that balance, you're going to find that you'll be at your optimal performance. Your mind processes things better. Recovery is very important as well for me. And then feeding the mind. It's not only about work product, and feeding the mind means different to everybody as well. I like to read now. I don't read, not, I don't read fiction books. That's not what I'm into. What I am into is, whether it's autobiographies of people that I'm really interested in, or subject matters that I feel where I'm feeding the brain. That's what feeding my mind, you know, means to me, and what satisfies me or drives me or continues to allow me to find my balance. So, I think those are the things that are so important, and that's how I try to find my own personal balance and my work life balance, and more importantly, just being present with my family. Like that's so important to me. You know, Before the pandemic, I was on the road probably 50% of the year or more, right? And the pandemic, while it was such an unfortunate thing for the entire world to continue to go through, it really allowed me to reset, and really allowed me to for us as a company, we didn't furlough anybody. We actually hired people during the pandemic, which is an amazing thing. um, and we had already started implementing a tech stack for some time, but we really dove deep into that, and we created even more efficiencies, and we as a team just became better. And you know that was rewarding to me, because I saw the team rally together and really value what we have as a company, and everybody value their own personal careers. And the one thing I would always preach then too is that you got to find your balance, because this entire pandemic has been so hard on everybody, not just the people that got COVID, and unfortunately the people that lost loved ones, right? Which some of our staff members experienced both. Some of our staff members got it. Some of our staff members had family who got it. Some of our staff members lost loved ones from the virus. It, but nonetheless, I saw everybody continue to try to fight for their balance, and so I try to. I don't, I'm very spiritual. So those that know me, and oftentimes, even sometimes my clients will say, "All right, man, I don't need a speech today," But yeah, but that's just how I live my life, authentically. And so if I say that to myself, I'm gonna say it to someone else. And I've lived on this earth now 40 years. I have enough of a track record for those that really know me to know this is authentically me. And so I give the same advice to my team. And then we try to, pre-pandemic, we try to do some fun things. We'll do like, retreats for the team, and we'll do fun things. Even though we're a small, intimate team, it's just keeps it fun. And we haven't been able to do it for the last year, unfortunately. And I look forward to getting back to the days where we can do that.
Yeah. So I want to dive into some of the business stuff you got going on, because it's all really exciting, and another thing that I admire about what you guys are doing at Paradigm is your personal excitement in these other ventures you're doing is palpable. It's real. Like you said, you're very clearly living authentically through this. And so what personally, what's just like your favorite thing going on out of everything right now? You know, Proper 12 is the fastest growing already. I don't know if I mean, I just did see the recovery line too. What's going on with everything? What
I mean,
I can't even keep track of it. I don't know how.
it's like having, look, I have two beautiful daughters. I don't have a favorite. I love both of them, right? And so I don't have a favorite, but I could tell you it's just fun now to see all the hard work and the vision come to life, and all the things that we're doing. And to me, it's just about keeping the eyes on the prize, right? About keeping focus and making sure we execute this, not just from start, but to finish, right? And I don't know what finish means, to be honest with you, but I do know that because of that competitive nature that we as a company have, and I know every partner we have in whatever venture it is, whether it's our whiskey partners, whether it's our health and wellness partners, whether it's our mobile gaming partners, it is an infectious attitude, right? And we all really share that type of drive and commitment to excellence to make sure we continue to evolve and grow. And so if we had a great year last year, amazing. We're going to have a better year next year, and keep evolving, keep pushing the envelope and the limits to everything, not just success, but just like innovation and then keep it really authentic. Like everything we build has to align organically. If you look at all the ventures right now, which are Conor ventures, they're ventures that I know he believes in. They're products that I know that he loves. That they're sectors that I know align organically with him, right? And for us as a company, it's always been that way. We have to make sure everything we do aligns organically with our clients and the ecosystem that we're building. And so, but there's a lot of exciting things in the pipeline for Proper 12, for August McGregor. TIDL now is really, 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 kind of, hit the ground running. We just made that announcement this week, but that's been in the works for some time. Dystopia, our mobile game, is doing phenomenal. Fast, our fitness program. I'm
Mhm.
so excited about not only the launch that we just had, but what's to come, because we're innovating. We're innovating. And it's everybody, you know, everybody that thought they figured out what we're doing, we're always, in my opinion, I like when I look back and I see kind of the look in everybody's face or the reaction that we get, because everybody's like, well, I didn't expect it to be that, or I didn't expect it to be this, or it was this good. And, I remember, even when Proper 12 came out, people thought it was just going to be some gimmick. I'm like, what? No, we don't do that. We build real businesses here, quality products. I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you even look at what Conor McGregor represents, he represents quality, right? Nothing he's going to do is not going to be something that he won't personally love. And that goes for Paradigm Sports as well. So we're behind the scenes, but now that we've been able to really have some successful ventures and a decade long of a track record, I think the results show that we're really about quality, and we're really about getting into businesses that naturally align with our clients or our ecosystem.
I want to talk about Connor a bit, and I think this is an important point. Um, Headlines, online commenters, especially, they'll say this and that about Connor, but at the end of the day, he's one of the best martial artists ever. Period. And I think it's pretty clear that you guys are definitely living authentically through these things. And I think another important point you made is that when you see these other athletes, these other celebrities doing things that aren't necessarily aligned with what's organic and what's authentic to them, and then it's a fizzle out, it's a phase out, or you don't hear from them anymore, or you don't see them promoting the business anymore. I mean, you guys haven't let off the gas with any of this stuff. Not
No,
not not for a second.
not at all. And, Conor McGregor is a special, special human being. He's not only one of the greatest martial artists and combat sports athletes of all time, but he's an amazing businessman. And I know him as a brother. He's someone that I know who he is here. And so, you don't have to like him. If you don't like him, guess what? That's your right. But ask us if I give a shit. I don't. At the end of the day, do your thing, and I respect that. But considering the success that he's had athletically and from a business standpoint, and to continue to see him evolve as a human being,
Mhm.
and when one would think that despite all the success and the pressure that comes with it, because he's still a human being, that he would regress, they they thought wrong, right?
Mhm.
Yes, he's made mistakes in his life. Yes, he's actually not been the best version of himself athletically, even in some competitions. But to see where he is today, and I'm here in Abu Dhabi getting ready for this fight tonight. with
Hmm.
Dustin Poirier at UFC 257. And I'm so excited. And if you look at even Dustin and Conor's interaction as athletes and how there was so much bad blood that first meeting, there was
Hmm.
so much animosity. But look at them now. Conor picking up his hot sauce, paying respect to the man for his ventures, making a donation to his charity. But make no mistake about it, there is going to be a fierce battle between two phenomenal mixed martial artists. But to show that evolutionary process in him, to me, is what makes me proud of Conor, is that he constantly is rising up to the occasion to be the best version of himself, not only in the octagon or in the combat sports realm and arena, but also in the business world and in his personal life as well. And I'm just excited about that. And so, with that's going to come criticism. With that's going to come, the haters will always be there, but we appreciate them too. At the end of the day, it continues to fuel the fire.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. And speaking of that evolution and that growth, and as a new parent myself, it's been really spectacular to see
Congratulations.
Connor as a dad.
What'd you have?
Thank you. I have a 10-month-old boy.
Wow, you're in the trenches still, huh?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, I'm in the mud. I'm definitely in the mud. Yeah. That's why I was actually running late for this by a few minutes. I had to go change a diaper. My wife ran. It's a special thing. It's very centering. It's very, it realigns you. And like I was saying before, with that evolution and that growth, like seeing Connor as a father, that's been a really awesome thing too. Because just personally, I've been following his career. I've been following you for some time. Excuse me. And it's just been, yeah, it's remarkable to see that. And now this whole philanthropic arm that is extending out. I mean, I think that's just incredible too. Building these gyms, supporting these other athletes, the donation to the Good Fight Foundation. These two warriors, and yet all class. And
Yeah.
I love that. And it's I think it's really setting a good example for athletes and people in general to just be respectful, but also handle their business. And so, can you talk about that a bit more, just about the philanthropic side of things with Connor?
You know, up to this point, he was doing so much with the pandemic back home. He was at the forefront, really, not only speaking out about what he felt his own country should do as it relates to protecting his people, but he was putting his money where his mouth is, right? He was out there, you know, purchasing PPE equipment for the front liners, and he was even personally delivering them to different hospitals in need. And even in our business ventures, one of the things that's really important to him is adding elements of giving back. And you saw that even with Proper 12 Irish whiskey, and how we had a donation to first responders through Tunnel for Towers. And it's just part of who he is, and then I would say even earlier on in his career in the last few years, he would go and make a donation to Children's Hospital, which is the local children's hospital in his hometown where he comes from. And he would make the donation and just not want any publicity, and that's just I, that's the part of Connor that I know, I've always known, that I think people are just starting to take notice. And part of that is because, to your point, there's just also a lot of people that criticize Connor, and a lot of people that, unfortunately, when you're at this level, will try to attack you for personal gain, right? So
Hmm.
at the end of the
Yep.
day, he's going to continue to evolve and going to continue to be the best version of himself. And one of those things that are very important to him is giving back. He constantly says that now. He's like, he looks at me, he's like, man, we're blessed. I was like, yeah, we are. So, like, he has these different sides to him where, again, like I said, even about the Dustin Poirier fight, is that he's so humble and so respectful, but then he wants to compete. and be this ultimate competitor and go to battle, right? Same thing in the real world. He wants to build great businesses and is very ambitious, but then he'll stop and be like, man, we're blessed. We got to get back. And he's right, because at the end of the day, when you get to certain levels, like, what's the point of having all this success if you're not able to touch as many lives as you possibly can with the platform that he's been blessed to have and be blessed to build, right? So at the end of the day, that will only continue. And we're doing another charitable commerce deal right now with Roots of Fight, where though the proceeds, he's not even making money on that. He's donating it to Cumberland Children's Hospital. So, things like that to him are just constantly, they're fun, and they're ways of just giving back, right? It's like, if he has that ability and that platform to affect change, he's going to do it.
All right, Audie. Well, you got a busy day, I'm sure. Busy night, big night.
It is. It is. I appreciate you having me on the show. I wish you all the best, and we'll be in touch, man.
Thanks so much for your time, Audie.
Brian, thank you, man. Cheers.
Take care.
Congrats,
Be well.
my brother.